If you're ready to take your destiny into your own hands, you've come to the right place. This is Ordaishi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur, featuring interviews with the most exciting and amazing entrepreneur. Here's your host, Chi Odogwu.
What's good, my well-read ballers? This week we're going to holla, holla, holla with Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Seuss. It's balls hot up in the jungle where our main man Horton the elephant be straight chilling. When out of nowhere, brothers start hearing some shit like somebody's talking to him. All he see is a speck of dust. Turns out he ain't high as shit. This speck got a small ass dude living all up on it. For real. Being the righteous baller he is, Horton put the speck on a clover to keep it safe. Cause no matter how big or small people be, they still people.
Hey guys, got a great show for you today. I'm talking to Greg Edwards. Greg is a fast-rising comedian based out of Los Angeles, California. He was born and raised in Newport, Virginia, and he discovered his comedic talents very early in life. With the support of his family, he moved over to the West Coast, that's in Los Angeles, California, to pursue his ambition of becoming a stand-up comedian. He's known for his very distinctive voice, one-liners, fearless views, and thoughts on social commentary in America. He currently stars as Sparky Sweets, Ph.D. OG, in the critically acclaimed YouTube web series Thug Notes. In the show, he uses street language to distill, dissect, analyze, and summarize classic literature. He's a fixture on comedy scene around the United States and has worked with comedians like Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neal, Damon Wayans, Bellamy, Kamau Bell, and a lot more. In addition to starring in Thug Notes, he hosts a weekly free comedy show, The Workout Room, and I just learned that he has another show titled Blame Social Media. So I'm pleased to discuss his life, his occupation, and the business of being creative on demand. Greg, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Chi. Man, that was an awesome intro right there.
You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so let's get right on into it, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started. What's the origin story of Mr. Greg Edwards?
I mean, man, I think I come from a family of crack-ups and people that are always trying to be positive and make people laugh and just enjoy life. So, and my family was very supportive with anything I did. I used to play a lot of sports, but I've always been interested in acting and just being funny and making people laugh and smile in any way. And my parents pushed me to pursue it. They used to take me around to theater auditions back in my country town, and I used to do dinner theater. I did anything I could do, and I finally got the opportunity to come out to California when I was 20 years old, and I just took advantage of it, and I've been out here ever since. Pursuing my dream. Pursuing
your dream. That's nice, man. So were you like that kid in class that was just the class clown tearing shit up?
I wasn't the class clown, but I was the kid that was watching the class clown and thinking he wasn't that funny.
Really?
And thinking it's funnier than him. You know what I mean? I was the dude that's joking the class clown.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
But you did sports like primarily in high school, correct?
Totally, yeah. I played football.
Yeah.
I played football.
And I heard you said you played with Michael Vick. He was on.
Yeah. I played against Vick.
Against Michael Vick, yeah.
He went to another school, but we played against each other all throughout high school. I was friends with him in high school. I saw Vick maybe a couple of times after we graduated when he was in the NFL. We had a couple of conversations like passerby type stuff. I'm happy that he turned everything around, man.
Yeah.
He's actually a real good guy. Just got, sometimes you get caught up.
Yeah, I mean that's life, Sometimes you do something, you make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes. He just did it in front of everybody.
Yeah, and you have to pay the price. But I mean, it's nice that he's turned things around and he's
Oh,
got
totally.
his career back on track and his life back on track, which is basically what it means. Like I titled the show "Bulletproof Entrepreneur." These things happen to everybody, so not necessarily in business, but in life in general. You have to be an entrepreneur. You have to take your shots, and you just have to get back at it if you want to succeed.
That's it. You gotta, it's not about falling down. It's about how you get up and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So you left home, came to California, started comedy. Like, how did you get into like stand up proper? Like, did you just start going to comedy clubs night after night until you were discovered, or did you go to some dramatic comedian school or something?
Well, in my hometown of Virginia, there weren't really any comedy clubs. I knew I wanted to do stand-up, but theater was the closest I could get to that. But when I was 20, I got the opportunity to work for this educational theater company in Oakland. And I moved out there. It's my first apartment, everything like that. But I started reading through these newspapers, and I would see comedy open mic, stand-up comedy. And I just started doing it that way. I would go to an open mic and, write my stuff and just be horrible and just keep going and keep going and keep going. Then you start meeting people and you just start getting better naturally.
So what was the first bad experience doing open mic? Like, what was your first bombing?
Oh man, I think that actually my first mic I did okay. And then I kind of I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. This is going to be cool. And then the second one, I bombed it up. And I think the third, fourth, fifth one bombed it up.
Oh, my gosh.
But I kept meeting people, and people was like, hey, man, you got a good, funny sense of humor and good stage presence. So, people kept motivating me. And but I would go up there just trying to be funny off the cuff instead of writing my stuff down and practice. Okay. I had to learn. I didn't know.
Yeah, okay. So that was my next question. I was going to ask you, were you more of situational comedy based off of the audience, or you learned the script? So that means along the way you had to start scripting out your shows and planning your jokes and arranging your jokes. Okay.
Yeah. Arranging, writing, editing your jokes, breaking words off. It's a science to it that I feel like I'm a pro at now. But in those days, man, it took a little while. It definitely took a little while.
Yeah, but that's how you become a pro at anything. You start off sucking, and then you just have to fight through sucking until you know what. Hey, you do 10,000 of them, not too bad anymore.
Nah, man, it's fun now, and sometimes you still suck. That's the beauty of it. You're constantly trying to create something, and it could be bad. Like I'll write a joke today and work it out at a mic or something tonight, and it won't be that good. But by Friday, man, that joke would be great. And then I got a joke for the next year and a half.
So how did you meet some of the big comedians that I mentioned earlier that you had worked out with? You met people along the way in Virginia. I'm sure by the time you were 20 and you got to LA, that's bigger scene, all the big comedians are all there. Jamie Foxx, everybody is all there. So I'm sure they probably have their managers or scouts or something looking for someone to kind of open up shows for them every once in a while, correct?
Yeah, well, when I moved, when I was 20, I moved from Virginia, and I moved to the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, and I was doing comedy at this club called The Punchline in San Francisco, and I just hung around there so much. I was 21, 22 at the time, so I would do shows and just hang out at the Punchline, and I'd meet other famous comedians. And, they'd be there for the week, and I'd be at every show, just chilling, talking to them afterwards. And, by making those relationships, people will just be like, hey, man, you was here last time. You want to do a set? And then I'll do a set, and then they'll like me. And, I'll get to open for them or the club booker liked me a lot because I was just always there. You know, I'm a good guy. You know, personable, and and I just get gigs that way, and I get to meet. You know, I got to meet Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neal. You know, so many Bill Burr. So many funny people that, you know, now I'm in LA, I still run into these guys and, you know, we have a better relationship now. So, I try to tell people, like, be nice to people and people because you just never know.
You just never know. That's right. So who was the main guy that took you under his wing and kind of like, you know, said, hey, man, don't screw this up. You know, it could go well for you if you really, like, work hard at this, or you could, like, turn it the other way and... You know, that would be the end of you.
I had when I lived in San Francisco, I had four real good buddies. Three of them were older dudes. They were like mentors, and one of them was a younger guy who happened to be my roommate. But Kamau Bell, who's doing great stuff on CNN right now. He had his show called Totally Biased. He was a really good mentor of mine. A guy named Kevin Avery, who just worked on John Oliver's show. He actually just won an Emmy. Really good. He wrote a really good play and movie called Thugs the Musical. He actually got me hooked up with the guys with Thug Notes. Kevin Avery. And a guy named Reggie Steele, who's still in the Bay Area. But we did some sketches called Black Guys on a Beautiful Day. They were really fun, and those are really like my mentors. Those guys.
So what was that about, Black Guys on a Beautiful Day?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. It's just us. It's four of us hanging out in San Francisco. We're acting like we're roommates, and we trying to figure out what are we going to do that day. And then Kevin decides, like, hey, why don't we just be black guys in San Francisco? So we do a lot of satire. We do a lot of stereotypical African-American stuff. And by the end of the sketch, we end up meeting another guy who's supposedly more blacker or more hood than we are. And we get scared. And it's funny. It's pretty fun.
So kind of like Friends for black guys.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you start doing that, and then, you know, getting some notoriety, getting some popularity. You know, how did it start to feel? I mean, had you like made it now? Were you like a name in the city? Were you getting like some mad checks coming in, or you still had to hustle every day to book those gigs and still hustle?
You know, before I left San Francisco, I was doing all the clubs out there. You know, I was just doing all the shows. You know, I was getting booked a lot. But I felt like I was no, I won't even say that. I just felt like I needed a new scenery. I needed to go somewhere else and meet new people and just try to grow somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, you know, when I started like getting better and getting booked a lot in San Francisco, you know, people knew me, people appreciated me. But I'm a very humble dude. I like to keep it kind of humble. So people will say nice things, and I just be like, yeah, man, it's all good. I still gotta get better. And it's always somebody funnier or somebody that's working harder than you are. So I just try to stay focused like that and just keep striving.
Okay. So what were you drawing inspiration from for your comedy sets? Like you said, you're into like drama and theater. So do you go into like Shakespearean acting when you weren't doing comedy? Or were you just reading like some of those old classics or staying in the library with the art crowd? And how are you like getting some inspiration?
It's all, I mean, I try to go on like social stuff, like stuff that will happen to me. You know, I would talk about, you know, relationships, you know, I talk about isms, you know, be it racisms, stereotypes or ageism, sexism. I would try to think about something that is on everybody's mind and just come at it from like a different angle or a different perspective than most people are talking about.
Okay. So give us an example of one. Like, take for example, maybe racism and ageism, because I think those are the two biggest things that we're all dealing with right now, and especially with what's going on and what's been going on in America.
Totally. Well, I got this joke where I talk about a lot of people have been protesting different issues with Trump and different race-related issues that happened this year, last year, the whole Black Lives Matter stuff. And I talk about, like, I don't like to protest the same way other people protest. I protest differently. My style of protesting is I'll go to a parking garage in any greater metropolitan area and just go inside and unplug electric cars. Just making a play on it, like, most white people have electric cars. I try to not say the most typical thing. I try to come at it, like the back door and open that way.
From the side.
From the side, yeah, gotta come from an angle.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. All right, so one thing I want to talk about is, like, racism, Trump. Last year especially, we had like a lot of shootings, especially with Black Lives Matter and black men and all that stuff. And I remember listening to one of your interviews too, where you were racially profiled and pulled over by the cops. Could you tell that story and, like, like, translate it for the audience so that we can understand, like, where some of this comedic thought process is coming from, especially based on the current narrative in society?
That particular story, I was just coming from a comedy show, like I'm always doing, and I had my registration sticker was expired, but I went to DMV and I had another, they give you a sticker for the rest of the month, and it was clearly back window. I just got harassed by some cops. They pulled me over in my parking lot behind my apartment building, which I thought was ridiculous. And I got out of my car. They pulled guns on me. It just was very dramatic. They took me to the station, did a DUI test. I blew a 0.000. Nothing was in my system. They apologized, but it's just things that happen like that. Being black and being in America sometimes in different cities, and you just use it for fire, motivation, and just to keep yourself going, because a lot of people don't have to deal with that, but certain my group does have to deal with that. It's not just me; it's so many other people. Yeah, and I just use it to try to relate and try to talk to people about real issues. When my white friends found out what happened, when my Latino, Asian friends found out what happened, gay friends, they felt very hurt. And I just had to let them know that this isn't just Trayvon Martin or somebody you don't know. This can happen to a guy you see every day. Yeah. A guy you eat lunch with, or a guy that we talk about each other's mothers. You know what I mean? This is, it can get close to home. And I just use it. You just use your stories to try to make people feel empathy and try to respect what you go through and what our struggle is.
Yeah, because like I was telling you, my college buddy is from your hometown, and if he comes to visit me when I was living in Jersey City, and the cop is like even driving like 3-4 cars behind us, they're like, dude, let's not act up until the coast is clear. You don't want to have to deal with anything.
Nothing, because it's crazy out there, man.
Yeah, cool. All right, so another thing I also read, which is on the funny side, is like you said at one time you saw a UFO. What's that about?
Yeah. Oh man, I was talking about this last night. I saw a UFO like maybe, how many years ago was this? Probably like 8 years ago. Going to the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard. Just hanging out like I do every Monday, go to this comedy open mic, and I looked up in the sky and it was a huge UFO ship in the sky. It was beige, like metallic beige. It had all these Asian characters on it, and it was super quiet. Like it wasn't making a noise at all. It was just And I looked down, and looked at everybody else, and nobody was looking up. Nobody was looking up at all. It was just me, and I felt like maybe it was for me. I don't know. But I talked to my girl. My girlfriend picks me up maybe an hour after that, and I told her the whole thing, and she thought I was crazy. But I know what I saw. You know when you know you see something. I know what I saw. And I believe it. I definitely believe in UFOs and extraterrestrials and beings and energies. I think there's things that human beings can't explain, and other stuff that's going on in the world. I mean, Earth it's an old planet. Our solar system is very, very old. The universe and so many galaxies. We just live in the Milky Way galaxy. It's so many galaxies out there. So I think human beings are foolish to believe that there's nothing else out there besides us. Yeah.
Okay, so now looking at that story, I'm like, okay, well, I've never experienced such a thing, so I would have said, okay, maybe Air Force is testing out some hot new airplane or something, but it was huge, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was so big that I'm like, there's no way our Air Force has something that size.
Oh, wow.
It was huge. I mean, I've been in a intercontinental airplane, double decker. Those are big, big planes, but this ship made probably was 10 times that size. Wow. If it was 10 of those ships, 10 of those planes all together, it still wasn't as big as this UFO that wasn't making a noise. It was just gliding
like an electric car on the air,
and just floating in the sky, and then it goes away.
Oh wow!
It was crazy.
That's crazy. All right, so I mean, I don't know. We're gonna have to research that. I don't know. I'm sure you have a hard time convincing people about this because until somebody sees what you saw, there's no way they're gonna buy it. Yeah, they'll be like, okay, I'll take Greg's word for it, but I mean, I don't know.
Greg's crazy. Greg's is crazy.
All right, so for the UFOs, let's talk about thug notes. You got recruited to work on that show, and I think you said the writer is Jared Bauer and another guy. So tell us, Jacob. Yeah, so tell us about the origin of Thug Notes and how you got hooked up with those guys to bring this educational project that's kind of changing literature education as we know it.
Totally. Well, the writer and the creator is a guy named Jared Bauer. Very smart dude, loves hip hop, Jewish dude from Texas. And he said he was going to a movie, like some old 60s movies.
Yeah, Brandon Lynch or something, I believe. I think
Brendan?
Yeah. I have it right here.
Okay, yeah. He was going to see one of those movies, and he was thinking how he was trying to figure out how he can do something like a movie like this and put it in the hip hop narrative or in a more street slang style, and that made him create Thug Notes. And he had worked on a project with Kevin Avery and Kamau Bell, and he had asked them who did he think could he actually recommend somebody for the project, and Kevin Avery recommended me, and I auditioned for it. And we shot the first couple of episodes, and it moved very slowly. And then I think To Kill a Mockingbird was the one that really hit real hard. And after that, it's really been a success ever since then. And it's been really good. It's educational. Kids really enjoy it. Teachers love it. So many people have seen it, and it's really helped out my career quite a bit. And I work in the educational field during for my daytime gig. So it's nice to be doing something that's funny, creative, and also can help people.
Yeah. So you're saying the first one really didn't kick off. People didn't know what to expect, right?
Yeah, I think the first 2 or 3 didn't really take off that well. I mean, I think we probably got a couple of thousand of views. A like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 views for the first 2 or 3, and then we did To Kill a Mockingbird, and people started picking it up. A lot of journals and a lot of popular news journal operations online were picking it up. And it got super popular. And some people, don't get me wrong, some people don't like it. Some people don't like the connotation of it. And I totally get that with the way we're living right now. But, I think it's funny. I think it's educational. And, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I hope you use it.
Yeah, because like I told you earlier, I found it 2 weeks ago and I've been watching it ever since. And it just was like, the way I looked at it is like, oh, they put two things together that had no business being together, but yet now everybody is learning about literature. Because I remember reading, like the first one I saw was Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. And I remember reading that in, I think you guys would call it 7th grade. And I was like,
okay,
I did not understand it in that depth back then. We were just told, oh, read it, and it was a very difficult read. But when you broke it down like that, and based on my experience now, I'm like, oh, I might go back and read that book again. That has some deeper stuff going on in there.
Totally. Well, the guy, we got such a good, diverse crew on it. Jerry created it, but we have other guys that actually read the books. And find other information about the books. We got a big research team, and I like that we get different views that other people don't think of. Like you said yourself, like, man, I never thought about it from that angle, and a lot of people say that, and I just think it shows people that you can read something and have your own point of view of it. And somebody else can read the same text and just have their own different point of view of it. I think it encourages people to read, and it encourages people to have their own thoughts and respect their own views and somebody else's too.
So do you think education is probably going to change and go down this road in the foreseeable future? Because the way education has always been for the past couple 100 years, since I think the Industrial Revolution, is basically you sit people down in a room, you train them on what they need to know, you push them out there, let them go get a job. Now the jobs are basically Uber this, TaskRabbit that, Airbnb this. You don't need to go to school anymore. You can do Udemy, you can sit on YouTube, and now you can't just dispel dry information. You have to have information that's basically short to the point and engaging, so that people can remember it and use it when they need to call upon it.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I think education is going to change, definitely. I don't think a lot of, especially in the States, a lot of stuff happens at school. Schools aren't really safe anymore. I think more and more people are homeschooling their kids. More kids are learning. I think more people are going to be learning just like this. On one side is a teacher, and another side is the student, and they're just going to be doing their work like this. Like you said, from YouTube, U Academy. I think the future of education will definitely be online. I just wonder when it's actually going to happen. Like when it's starting to slowly happen, but I wonder when it will totally be embraced, because it is the future.
Yeah. And you were just saying that you guys got a lot of press and traction, and that teachers are actually beginning to use your material for teaching. So are they like mimicking you guys and copying what you guys are doing, or do they just play the videos and then use it as a discussion piece during the class?
Yeah, they play the video, use it as a discussion piece during the class. I've seen some teachers actually ask their students to create their own Thug Notes video, their own version of it, and they have to be Sparky Sweets Ph.D. They have to break down their own book like that. So I think it's cool. Teachers, because all kids have their phone, which has a video camera on it, audio. You can do so much with it, and I think it's good for teachers to encourage their kids to be creative, encourage their students to be creative, to learn in a different way.
Nice. So how much of the character is based off of a scripting of what you guys came up with versus your input and your experiences and your background?
Well, I mean, totally. I think the character is me. Basically, it's just me playing. I don't speak like that, but
Yeah.
It's basically just me, more exaggerated with my voice, gruffier. It's Greggy Sweets, it's me doing that voice. But it's mostly just my character. It's a character I play with. Just somebody that's super excited. Not even a thug, perhaps. It's more like just a goofy guy that likes books and he's acting in a certain way. From the beginning of when we first started doing Thug Notes, I played the character more tough, and I feel like like maybe after the first 15 or 20 videos, I made the character more relaxed, more jokey, but still tough. But yeah, I just kind of broke it. They wanted the character to be more of a tough, like drill sergeant type of guy. And I think that worked in the beginning, but I think people appreciate, the comedian aspect of it now. It's just more relatable.
Wait, I have a note right here. It was like, so when you're doing, like, take for example one of the ones I really liked, which was The Old Man and the Sea, or whether you're doing Talk Notes or you're working on stand-up comedy, did you ever get the sense that do you ever get nervous and like feel like you're not good enough, or you're not, like, you have imposter syndrome where you don't feel you're up to playing this character or doing what you're doing?
Yeah, Chi. I mean, I'm self-reflective, just like everybody else. Sometimes I get down on myself. Sometimes, like, oh man, I don't think this is funny. I don't know if I'm doing this right. What am I doing? But that's when you have your friends, your loved ones, your family members to keep you focused and make sure you know what you're doing and to show what you've done. And I keep stuff around my house to keep me motivated, to show my successes. But yeah, sometimes the sky is falling and I don't think I'm good. Sometimes I feel like that, but they go away. And I get nervous sometimes, man. I've been doing comedy for like 15 years now, and sometimes I still get nervous. Sometimes I still get those butterflies. But you still just got to keep going. You still got to keep, like, one foot in front of the other. You just got to keep going.
Keep going. That's right. So what's the future for the project? Like, what do you guys see taking this? Thug history, thug biology, thug physics?
I think it would be dope to do thug history, or I would love for us to get something on Comedy Central. Nice. Actually have like a real TV show, and they've been trying to work on it, but it's Hollywood, man. It takes time, it takes money, energy, and a lot of people having the same focus trying to do it. So in due time, these guys, the producers, this is like their first big project, so it's hard to know what you're doing without that experience sometimes. So, but they're working hard, and hopefully this will come to TV. But I'm excited for just for what we've done so far. Yeah. We've done over 100 books, which is going to help so many students and college students get through. So I'm excited for that.
Nice. And I know you work with a lot of kids as a mentor, and you work with them all the time. So if you're teaching an 8th grade class today, like what would you teach them? What would you tell them to watch out for and help them build on as they're still in their formative years?
Well, I mean, I always try to, I try to teach the kids that I work with about friendship, respectfulness, and just hard work. I try to let kids know that, because when kids are young, they're kind of mean, they're kind of mean to their peers. And I just let them know that, you never know what somebody else is going through. And you never know what the future holds. Like the same kid that you're picking on could be offering you a job in 15, 20 years. You just never know. And I just tell them, about karma and like the stuff that you do now will come back and affect you in the future. You know what I mean? And try to teach them just to work hard at anything you do. I don't care if you're a dishwasher. You be the best dishwasher you're gonna be. You're gonna, be the best cook. Just work hard at whatever you do, and just try to teach these kids to be nice, man. It's it's a lot of mean people out in the world. I want the next generation to be nicer and want to help out more people. So we won't have to go through these same isms and issues that we're going through today.
Yeah. And as we start to wrap up the show, because we've almost reached the close to an hour mark, I just wanted to ask you like a few questions, and then it's Memorial Day, so time for you to get to that barbecue. I don't want to keep you away from those ribs. So who do you look up to, like, in your professional career, and what do you learn from that person? What do you admire about that person, and what do you try to emulate?
I've always had two big idols in comedy, and that's Dave Chappelle, and before him was a guy named it's Chris Rock. Those are my guys. I love I love their smartness. I love their intelligence when it comes to jokes and material, and I love their social consciousness. And I love their work ethic. They work hard, they push it, they keep going. Even if they fall down, Chris Rock will do a shitty movie or a bad movie, and he'll be back, next year with a banger. So those are my guys. Hannibal Buress, he's like a new dude that's really been crushing it the last couple of years. So I try to stay motivated and encouraged by watching those guys. And, W. Kamau Bell, a dude that I know that's just so successful right now, and I know him very well. I just try to stay encouraged by friends that I see, changing the narrative of black comedy,
Nice. And when you think of the word success, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Happiness. I think everybody equates success with money, but to me, it's happiness. I feel most successful when I'm happy, when I'm in shape. I'm feeling good, I'm healthy, relaxed. My family is happy. That's success for me. Financial success is good, but if you're not happy, nothing really matters.
Yeah. And if you were to advise some young guys coming out of high school thinking of going down this same comedy road, because it's not easy watching all the comedians, everybody talks about their struggle for years. Even like the guys that blow up, Jim Carrey, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. I mean, they had like really, really tough times, because this is a very creative job. You can't you basically have to make everything up on the fly for the rest of your life. So what would you advise somebody like that to start to do to prepare themselves for the career in the business?
I would say, think long and hard before you get into this career. It is, like you said, Chi, it's hard. It doesn't come fast. It's a lot of broke nights, a lot of bad relationships that end because people just can't deal with it. It's a lot of dedication and sacrifice. So I tell people, before you want to jump into stand-up, really think hard about it. But it's fun. You get to be creative in a way that most people in the world don't get to create. You get to make people laugh, which is an involuntary movement. People don't want to laugh usually. You have to make them laugh. And that's some spiritual stuff right there, making somebody happy. which comes with a lot of responsibility. But work hard and whatever you plan on doing, just do it to your utmost ability and work hard at it and focus on it and don't do it. Just don't. Go to school, man. Be a lawyer. Be a doctor, man. Don't do that. Don't do this.
Okay, and I think the last question is going to be based off what you just said earlier, which is when it comes to relationships and this particular career, you kind of need to have like a stable relationship in your life, somebody that understands what you're trying to do with your life, especially with this career. And I know you've been with your girlfriend for what, 7-8 years now?
9 years of this.
Nine.
You did research, man. Check you out.
Hey man, try to get on CNN.
Go get it, Chief. Oh, I know, Chief.
So I'd say, like, how do you know you found the right one that like kind of understands you and knows what you're trying to go through and is supportive enough to walk with you on this journey?
Well, I think time tells everything. I've been with my lady for like 9 years. She knew me. We met when I was in my late 20s in San Francisco. We were both working for different goals. And she saw me when I was struggling in San Francisco. She saw me when I was doing great in San Francisco. She seen me struggle in LA. She seen me do great in LA. I think you found the right person when they still love you, when you're up and you're down and you're in the middle. They still treat you the same and they still care about you. And I think being honest, telling people what you want out of life and your goals, and them telling you what they want and their goals, and just coming together and just being there for one another. And that's when you find a man or a woman that can support you and be there for you and love you for who you are. You're doing good. You found a good one. But and sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes people are there for like a season, but you can learn things from that. I still think fondly of my old girlfriends that couldn't. He's like, Greg, I can't handle you doing this comedy thing every night. I don't even get to hang out with you. This isn't a relationship. I respect those women too, because I learned something out of that too. So it's just life, man. Life ups and downs, and sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. And keep going. And with that said, my friend, it's the end of the show, 1 hour. So I'd like to say thanks a lot for agreeing to do this interview, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. It was a busy schedule. I know you have a lot of things doing, and you shoot like 5 episodes in one day. And the man is working hard, man. If you're hearing this and you're in Hollywood, man, give the man a shot. Give him like a movie or like a TV show or something.
Keep telling them, Chief. Keep telling them, man.
So that's it, my brother. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate taking the time to do this, man. And do you have any last word for anybody out there listening?
Keep following Chi. Keep checking him out. He's great. He's doing great work, putting out some positive energy for us. So anything Chi's doing, check it out. Hopefully we can get Chi on CNN.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna stay in contact with you too, Chi.
Oh, definitely. We'll trade up the details and whatnot. And I'll be in the States in the summer. I'll be coming to California, so I'll give you a ring.
Let's hang out, man.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. It's a wrap.
Yep. All right, Chi.
All right. So
don't let another minute go by without taking action to change your life. Visit Audacy.com right now for more incredible resources, and we'll see you next time on Audacy, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur.